You probably associate mummies with the Egyptians when you first hear the word, and it may not have occurred to you that humans and dinosaurs might have formerly shared our planet. So what happens when the evidence suggests that humans and dinosaurs may have coexisted at one point in time, and that the best preserved mummy was discovered in China? It may appear difficult to understand and quite enigmatic to learn about ancient civilizations and their histories. Archaeologists and history enthusiasts have helped us learn more about some of the most mysterious locations you never thought existed. There is also the idea that ancient civilizations may have been linked in some way through subterranean tunnels. This sounds like a logical justification for why there are comparable structures all around the planet. The discovery of pyramids in both Egypt and the Americas, as well as other parts of the world, just may be a coincidence, according to archaeologists. What if they weren't, though? Let's find out. One of the most intriguing finds is the best preserved mummy, Lady Dia, also known as Jinsu of China, discovered in 1971. She is said to have been from the Han Dynasty, 206 BC to 220 AD. Surprisingly, the woman's skin, hair, and blood were undamaged. In order to learn more about how the mummy was preserved, medical tests were performed when it was originally found. The mummy was so carefully kept that an invasive study on her had no negative effects. Scientists discovered that the body was hidden inside a tomb wrapped in more than 20 layers of silk and 4 ornate coffins that were nestled inside one another. But the mystery doesn't end here, because a new one was discovered inside the tomb. The translucent acidic liquid that was found within the tomb, according to the archaeologists, evaporated as soon as it was opened. To this day, some scientists think that the liquid was what kept the mummy preserved, while others think that it might have been merely body fluid. The question of whether humans and dinosaurs ever coexisted on Earth is another unsolved riddle. Humans and dinosaurs never coexisted on Earth, which would be the animated scientific response to this. Indeed, 66 million years ago, non-avian dinosaurs went extinct. What's remarkable about this is that in 1562, Peter Bruegel painted what appeared to be 2 people riding on 2 sauropods, a type of dinosaur thought to have gone extinct millions of years ago. According to the official explanation, the species in his artwork must have been camels. However, individuals dispute this. These don't even resemble typical camels, according to these people who believe that these are not just camels. The stunning part about all of this is that William Buckland found the first dinosaur species in 1819. So how did Peter Bruegel learn about dinosaurs to paint them in the middle of 1500s? Unless, of course, he actually saw them. It causes us to furrow our brows, doesn't it? The problem is that there should have been evidence of both human and dinosaur footprints if dinosaurs and people did, in fact, coexist at one point in time. Apparently, giant and dinosaur footprints were both found in the San Gabriel River, according to a YouTuber. If this is the case, and if his videos are to be believed, dinosaurs and giants may have coexisted. How do you feel about this? Do you believe that humans, dinosaurs, and dragons may have coexisted at one time or another? Now, if there is one aspect of our modern world that we can be proud of, it is technology. I mean, if you were to contrast our current world with one of the few decades ago, you would probably be pleased with what we have accomplished. The complex architecture of Pumapunku and other ancient sites around the world, for example, is something we still need to understand a lot about. Archaeologists continue to be perplexed by some of these structures' inability to be replicated in the present day. In Bolivia's rainforest, there are vestiges of a sacred monument known as the Pumapunku, and archaeologists claim that this was home to a thriving civilization circa 500 to 600 BC. Pumapunku is located near Tiwanaku, a contemporary city that is still blooming in the Andes alpine desert. In this remote region of the world, one can find exquisite, faultless stone structures with well-shaped seams, perfect sharp angles, and precision carvings. The megaliths strewn about here are some of the biggest on Earth, weighing in at over 100 tons and standing more than 25 feet tall. One is left to wonder how they got there. Several of these rocks exhibit such fine detail that researchers think they may not have been carved using traditional methods, but rather a more modern technology. The fact that some of these stones have magnetic capabilities makes them much more intriguing. Even today, the masonry of the temple is so perfect that alien enthusiasts think that it was constructed by laser beams and other extraterrestrial technologies. The Baghdad battery is a curious discovery that occurred in 1936. 2 years later, a remarkable feature of this artifact was discovered by German archaeologist Wilhelm Koenig. The jar was formed from clay and had an asphalt stopper. An iron rod and a copper cylinder were protruding from the container. Even more intriguing about this is that a voltage differential between the iron and copper will be produced if you add a weak acid like vinegar to the jar. In an effort to recreate these jars, a GE engineer filled them with vinegar in 1948 and was able to measure an output of roughly 2 volts. A heated debate ensued over whether or not this was actually the first electric battery. What about their usage of electricity or medicine? This is due to how excruciatingly low their maximum current was. Do you ever wonder if there was once civilizations that were more developed than our own? Or a highly developed culture residing here with us? While learning about the Bermuda Triangle, Egyptian pyramids, and Ellora Caves, the majority of people pose this question to themselves. This raises the question of what other secrets the world may hold, such as the existence of undiscovered ancient advanced civilizations with cutting-edge technology. Ellora Caves, which are on the southwest of Ajanta Caves and northwest of Aurangabad, are one of these wonders. A collection of 34 spectacular rock-cut temples in the northwest central Maharashtra state in western India. The most outstanding cave is Kailasa, thus named after the mountaintop in the Kailasa range of the Himalayas where the Hindu god Shiva resides. As a result, this temple is known as Lord Shiva's temple. One of the major archaeological puzzles of the 21st century is how this temple was built. This is due to the fact that it was carved into the mountain rather than construction from rocks or other materials. The Kailasa temple is thought to be one of a kind because this is the only temple in the entire world where the carvers actually began from the top to chisel downwards. The tools that were used to carve this megalithic rock are still not found in today's world. Archaeologists estimate that it must have taken more than 200,000 tons of volcanic rock to accomplish this. This quantity of rock has neither been discovered at the location nor seen by anyone nearby. Although the rock is supposedly 6,000 years old, it is still unknown exactly when or who carved it. According to researchers, the Rashtrakuta dynasty's King Krishna is believed to have ruled during the temple's construction, although this is a dubious notion because historians' definitions of this time vary. What are the chances that some ancient landmarks, like the Ellora Caves, the Egyptian pyramids, and numerous other locations, were constructed by the same civilization? Although it may seem unbelievable, don't you find the similarities strange? Some Peruvian researchers might concur with this. For example, Dr. Theo Paredes suggests that some of Peru's structures might not have been built by the Incas. He claims that anyone who has traveled to Egypt would see how strikingly similar the structures there are to those discovered in Peru. But how could this be, given that they are 1,000 miles apart? Considering Egypt, a weird object was discovered in Egypt in January 2020. A thing that could rapidly boil a cup of water, interfere with electrical gadgets for an unknown cause, and not reflect itself in the mirror. In addition, the item might reflect the skeleton of the person holding it when held up to a mirror. The Serapeum at Aqua Egypt is a collection of tombs, each weighing more than 100 tons, that were previously used as an Apis bowl burial ground and are situated northwest of the Djoser Pyramid. It must have taken 2,000 men to raise these boulders because the rocks were used to build these tombs were not local, indicating they were likely transported from another site. The problem is that there are underground tunnels in the area where these boxes are found, making it hard for more than 2,000 people to transport the boulders through them and into the chambers where they were found. The largest box discovered is 7 feet tall, and its open lid weighs more than 50 tons. There are numerous boxes inside, each weighing at least 100 tons, and the pathways are quite narrow. The exact method by which these boxes were lowered into the separate rooms is unknown, and it would require at least 200 men to lift the lid. Furthermore, a person could hardly fit into this space because of how small it is, especially between the box and the wall. Light is another factor that would have been problematic. Unlike modern times, we have electricity. They used fire in the ancient period. Interestingly, there are no markings or apertures in the ceilings. The hallway is not even spacious enough to accommodate the 2,000 men it would take to bring in these crates. So how did they find themselves inside the chambers? What do you think of these enigmas? Did you think that the mummy discovered in China was unique in its kind? Given the similarity of their technologies, it is possible that these civilizations had a mechanism of communication. Do you believe that earlier civilizations may have been more advanced than we first thought? Share your opinions in the comments section below.